You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Today's Friday, 2nd day of May, 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now the first one, that's our live training room. So that's reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not yet taken your 1-week free trial, go here, mytradingiq.com. Click that purple button at the top of the page. Fill out the form, hit submit. We'll get your indicators up and indicating today. You'll have the weekend to get familiar with them. And then your trial, your 5-day trial, no credit card required, will run next Monday through Friday. Now, when you take the trial, you're not just getting access to the live training room. You get access to everything a passport holder has access to, with the exception of the members only workshop on Thursday night. That goes without saying. There's no credit card required because we want you to focus on what's being taught. We want you to learn the strategy, okay? So that at the end of the 5 days, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. When the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, there's 2 different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, go to mytradingiq.com. But this time, scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it'll automatically log you into our platform. Now the benefit of that is you'll have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy and can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember, youtube.com/CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network. But you don't have to remember all that. just youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,800 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. And thanks to the power of YouTube, you can see how we've evolved over the years. You can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, and you don't need to, but it's a great resource to have handy, and it lets you know that we've been around for a minute. youtube.com/CFRN. This is our afternoon schedule. We were off a little bit yesterday because Michael wasn't here. He was out of town, but he will be with us today. He'll join us pretty close to the top of the hour. So let's get going. We'll start, as we do each day, with our daily devotional. Now, as you know, we spent almost 2 weeks talking about Easter and Holy Week. Now we're on day 4 of After the Cross. Today's scriptures, 1 Corinthians 2, 6 through 10. And I'm going to share it with you from the Message translation. We, of course, have plenty of wisdom to pass on to you once you get your feet on firm spiritual ground. But it's not popular wisdom, the fashionable wisdom of high-priced experts that will be out of date in a year or so. God's wisdom is something mysterious that goes deep into the interior of His purposes. You don't find it lying around on the surface. It's not the latest message, more like the oldest. What God determined as the way to bring out His best in us, long before we ever arrived on the scene. The experts of our day haven't a clue about what His eternal plan is. If they had, they wouldn't have killed the master of the God-designed life on a cross. That's why we have this scripture text. No one's ever seen or heard anything like this. Never so much as imagined anything quite like it. What God has arranged for those who love Him. But you've seen and heard it because God, by His Spirit, has brought it all out into the open before you. Again, that's 1 Corinthians 2, verses 6 through 10. So, after the cross. Sometimes, after that horrible event in the garden, when Adam and Eve chose to believe Satan instead of God, something happened spiritually. Every single human was put under a curse. But that day, God began a long rescue. Every single generation, He was patiently setting the stage for His Son to come. Then Jesus was born. And Jesus did with His life what He would eventually do with His death. He pushed back evil. Demons had no place torturing people, so He cast them out, like in Matthew 8:28. Bodies not working completely have no place in God's kingdom, so He fixed the broken, like in Mark 10:46. People belong with their families, so He restored outcasts, like in Luke 17:11. When Jesus and his friends were standing in front of the mountain where other gods were often worshipped, Peter declared that Jesus was the Messiah in Matthew 16. It was a slap in the face of the forces of darkness. There is one God and one God alone. The forces of darkness probably paid apt attention to Jesus' life. But when they arranged his death and got his crucifixion to happen, they probably rejoiced. But God had a bigger plan, a better plan. He used even the deep evil for good, because 3 days later, Jesus rose. Evil had planned to take out the Son, but their plan was thwarted by God's goodness. And that plan has not stopped. Scripture says that if evil had known what was going to happen, they wouldn't have done what they did. Live in such a way that makes them regret their great misjudgment. Because of Jesus, you are free. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for revealing to us the deep wisdom that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, truths prepared for those who love you. Help us to seek not the wisdom of this world, but the wisdom that comes from your Spirit. Open our hearts to the mysteries you've freely given. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Friday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices, as they're called. The Dow up 615 points, 1.5%. NASDAQ up 320, almost 2%. S&P 500 up 91, over 1.5%. And the Russell 2000, our man in the street, is up 39 points. That's 2%. But I thought they said Trump's plan was going to destroy Wall Street. Be careful who you listen to. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 78 cents, trading 58.46 last. That's a drop of well over 1.25%. Gold up $16.10, trading 32.38 last, clawing its way back from yesterday's downfall. Silver off 22 cents, trading 32.10 last. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 378 points, a little over 1%. Shanghai fell 7. The Hang Seng gained 385 points, 1.75%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 99, almost 1.25%. The DAX up 589, over 2.5%. And the CAC up 176 points, almost 2.5%. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And so far it's a big, beautiful green Radio Friday here in the US of A. Let's look at the news. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, we had a chef. His name was Chef Boyardee. It's the closest my mom ever came to cooking spaghetti. But we loved it. Anyway, ConAgra, owner of Chef Boyardee. I thought Chef Boyardee owned it. Oh, okay. Has reportedly agreed to sell the historic brand to private equity firm Brentwood Partners. The deal, which is not yet finalized, is valued at about $600 million. Italian immigrant Ettore Hector Boiardi launched the pasta sauce with his brothers in 1928 after running a popular restaurant in Cleveland. The brand played a key role in introducing Italian food to the U.S., challenging the preeminence of French cuisine. Chef Boyardee was once the U.S. #1 importer of Parmesan cheese. At the company's height, its Pennsylvania factory produced 250,000 sauce cans per day. We just had the spaghetti and meatballs. That's all you needed. Count Chocula when you came home from school, Chef Boyardee for dinner. Man, that was good living. Big day tomorrow, the greatest 2 minutes in sports. The 151st Kentucky Derby takes place tomorrow at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. Some people tune in just to see the crazy hats. This year's race features 23-year-old thoroughbreds competing in the 1.25-mile Run for the Roses, racing for a $5 million purse, with the winner set to take home over $3 million. Coverage begins at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC, with the race's post time set for 6:57 p.m. Eastern Time. This year's field includes offspring of 2 past Triple Crown winners and is led by favorite Journalism, it's a 3-1 favorite, who enters on a 4-race win streak. He'll face competition from Sovereignty, 5-1, and Sandman, 6-1, the latter drawing the historically unlucky 17th post. No horse has ever won from that gate since its introduction in 1930. Trainer Bob Baffert is also back with Rodriguez, 12-1, aiming for a record 7th Derby win after a 3-year suspension. The Kentucky Derby, first run in 1875, is the U.S.'s oldest continuously held sporting event and the first leg of horse racing's Triple Crown. Well, that'll be interesting to watch. A stronger than expected jobs report for April will likely reinforce Fed Chair Jerome Powell's stance of being patient about any monetary policy changes, even as President Trump once again called for the central bank to lower interest rates. No inflation. The Fed should lower its rate, Trump said today, on his platform, Truth Social. Boy, do I resemble that remark. China has said it's evaluating approaches from U.S. officials to start negotiating about tariffs, a potential de-escalation in the trade war that has raised hopes formal trade talks could start soon. If we fight, we will fight to the end. If we talk, the door is open, according to China's Commerce Ministry. The tariff war and trade war were unilaterally initiated by the United States Yeah, we're sick and tired of being ripped off. If the United States wants to talk, it should show its sincerity and be prepared to correct its wrong practices and cancel the unilateral tariffs. Really? And why don't you give us back all the intellectual property you've stolen over the years? Just for a starter, I hope this will be the first Christmas that there's not one piece of plastic crap under the tree. Apple plans to source more than 19 billion chips from the U.S. this year, part of a global supply chain shift to gradually lessen its reliance on China and elevate India for iPhone production. It's good news for India. CEO Tim Cook talked about leaning more heavily on Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing, which is expanding its Arizona operations to half a dozen plants. He also affirmed expectations that Apple will in future make the vast majority of its US-bound iPhones in India, reducing output from China as the Donald Trump administration threatens to slap punitive tariffs on its Asian rival. India was mentioned almost as many times as China on Thursday's post-earnings conference call, reflecting its rising importance. And after Apple's earnings report yesterday, they're now down $8 a share, or almost 4%. If you didn't see the interview with Elon Musk and Jesse Waters, they played part of it last night. They're going to play the rest of it Monday. It's really good. He's got some really smart guys working for him. Presidential advisor Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, is expanding its presence at the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission by adding a third staff member, according to people familiar with the matter. Since March, DOGE has been scrutinizing agency contracting and organizational charts for more possible cuts and restructuring. The SEC has shed at least 16% of its staff, largely through the Trump administration's voluntary buyouts. And last, according to Reuters, Barclays and Goldman Sachs said today that they expect the U.S. Federal Reserve to deliver the next interest rate cut in July, after this stronger than expected jobs report we got today. Stronger than expected jobs report. But if you flip the channel on the TV, we're all going to hell in a handbasket. Data today showed that non-farm payrolls increased more than expected in April, but the unemployment rate steady at 4.2%. So that's the news that's fit to share. Well, let's take a look here at Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, but also crude, gold, silver. We're currently in week 352. Over the last 352 weeks, we have issued over 19,500 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. She'll finalize it for the week this afternoon, early evening. At the time she did the recap this morning, we had issued a total of 53 alerts since the markets opened this past Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're still waiting on the outcome of 13. That gives us 40 actionable alerts at the time she did the recap, of which 4 or 10% would have been stopped out based on market structure and the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, every logic alert has an entry price, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and then quite often additional targets, and then a final trade to target. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. So while yes, these are tremendous results and you wish you had traded them, that's fine. Trade away. But make sure you use the Logic 247 alerts to learn how to read a chart. Until you learn how to read a chart, chances of you becoming a consistently profitable trader are, well, slim. Now, while 352 weeks is a very long time, long before that, years, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. They don't come out around the clock. They're published as a static report shortly before or shortly after the Globex open each evening. So last night, 5 minutes before the market opened, the Friday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So 5 minutes before the open, all of our members and trial members had every one of these targets: S&P, Dow, Russell, crude, NQ, gold, and silver. So as we go to the charts, keep in mind, you'll see these targets on the charts. Remember, everybody with access had access 5 minutes before the market opened. So with that, we'll head where we head this time of day, to the daily chart of the S&P. And look there. We are above that 62% reverse fib. It's a reverse fib because in an uptrend, you draw from the low to the high, but in a downtrend, you draw from the high to the low. This baby might be getting close to flipping back to an uptrend. Now, if we can close above the 62% reverse fib today, if we could close where we're at right now, that would be incredibly bullish. We could close higher, and again, we could sell off into the close because it is a Friday. It depends upon how much conviction the institutional traders, the ones with deep pockets who actually move price, how convicted, how convinced are they that the market's going to continue higher? It's easy to see that your next major resistance is right here at 57.73. Above that, 58.36. Okay. Those are important numbers. Now, if we take out this high, first we got to take out this high, then we take out this high, we got a lot of room to run before we get to the next major resistance up at 50.57. Now the green line is called the BBC. It stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, that's bullish. We expect higher prices. Now price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC. You'll notice that when price pulls back to the BBC, it holds more often than it doesn't, whether it's pulling down from above or pulling up from below. The pullback held, and the pullback held, and the pullback held. And here we are. Okay, we're above the BBC. We've got blue and climbing. Now the step line has gotten directly above blue and climbing. If the step line crosses blue and climbing, you should anticipate a retracement back to the 50% fib and the daily BBC. Okay? All right. Now, I suggest whatever you trade, future stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, spend 2 minutes with the daily chart before you drop to your smaller time frame and start trading. Okay? Not only does that give you a free look over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price, but it allows you to identify, as I just did, where major areas of potential resistance and also support are. Right now, support, we're sitting right on top of the step line. The next support would be blue and climbing. The next support would be the 50% fib, and then the daily BBC. Those are things you can't see on your smaller time frames. So on the ES, the vertical lines separate today Friday from Thursday. Back here's Wednesday. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. When price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. We've published the zones for over 15 years. Every week, they come out Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, and once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. So as we got above the BBC here, got a leg, we got a retracement, we got a leg, we got a retracement, we got a leg, and then we dropped below the BBC. We took out these lows yesterday. We talked about this on the broadcast yesterday, and we found support at the zone. Remember, when price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. And these are the zones that were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Support will always send the market looking for resistance. So 5 minutes before this candle printed last night, all members and trial members had these targets. And from there, support. See how we consolidated at the zone? Only 3 things happen when price encounters a weekly zone. 70% of the times consolidation, 20% of the times rejection, 10% of the times the slice. So from support, off we go looking for resistance, which we found. Okay. Now, once we got back above the BBC, this is, what are we here? 50. You're looking at this candle right here, because you see where, right there, okay, that's the long target. So you'd want to get in this trade at about 56.53 as you're building this green candle. And from 53 to 67, that's 14 points. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. Just like when the market runs into support, it will go look for resistance. When it runs into resistance, it will go look for support. The pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. Notice here, red and falling turned to blue and climbing. When red and falling gets directly below price, like it did here, it begins to act most often as support because it's on its way to becoming blue and climbing. Obviously, one is bearish, the other is bullish. And so off we go. This time we trade through the long target. Okay. Now, on the retracement, the top of that long target became support. So we got a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, a leg, And we're just kind of hanging here. This is the highest weekly trading zone for this week, 5741/42. Now, in order to be concerned with the short target, we would have had to trade it below this weekly zone. And the short target, of course, was based on this bullish cross. When the blue line gets above the green line, that's called a bullish cross. And if it leads to an extended move, as it did, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. At least the first time down. Same is true in the opposite direction. On the Dow, here's where we opened last night. Okay. Now we were below the BBC. We had red and falling. There was enough movement to the downside to get your goal for the day. This candle opened at 48.20 and hit a low of 47.66. That's 20, 30, 50 points. You only need 20 points to get your goal for the day. So, this support right here was a little premature, but because we'd had a basically bullish session, buyers came in early, drove us above the BBC. So now we're looking to run at the long target. This candle opened at 41,000. So that's 110 points up to the target. You only need 20 points to get your goal for the day. Price continued higher and took out yesterday's high, but if you scroll to the left, you'll see where this resistance came from. Resistance always sends the market looking for support. And right here, you had a bullish cross that led to an extended move. The first time price revisited that area, it became good support. See that? Support will always send the market looking for resistance, which it has found at the highest weekly trading zone for the week, 41,495/41,500. On the Russell, here's where we opened last night, consolidated at the zone, and then took off for the long target. Spot to get long would have been, right in here somewhere. We'll call it 1990, just to be conservative. Well, that gave you 7 points up to the target, but we traded through it. And then on the retracement, see how we came to rest right on top of the long target? This happens over and over again and again. So that support bounced us up to resistance at the BBC, the pullback hill. That sent us back down to the top of the target, which held as support. Okay. Then we get above the BBC, we get a leg, a retracement, a leg, a retracement, a leg, and we are currently sitting at the highest weekly trading zone this week for the Russell. In Q, again, we opened right at the weekly zone. We got above it. Now, you don't need much on the NQ to get your goal for the day. If you got in here, now you see right here, we ran into this bearish cross and the market found resistance. Just the first time up. Then it overcame it. Okay. And then we got slightly higher, right up to this high right here. See that? That's market structure. You had a green candle. This candle had like a 1 tick wick. So it was green for like a tick, and then it reversed. Okay, so you know that is potentially good resistance. It's proven. Here, back to support, all the way up to the zone, and then a retracement back to the step line, which held a support. Then we got a leg, a retracement, a leg, and we're headed for the highest weekly trading zone. Crude oil. Now you'll notice this low. Well, here's where we opened. Okay, we're above the lowest weekly trading zone. Once we overcame red and climbing, this candle opened at 59.23. We'll call it 59.25. So that's $250 in that one candle right up to the target. And then we continued on through the target, but we failed to take out these highs. So that's a sign of weakness. When the step line crosses blue and climbing, as it did right here, see on the way up, it's on the left side, but once it crosses, that indicates the price will most likely retrace back to the BVC, and it did, along with red and falling, taking it all the way back down to the zone where we open. Support sends us to resistance, back to support, back to resistance. Now notice this resistance here is right at the bearish cross. You see that? Okay. And then down we go, all the way to the short target, to the tick, as they say. Now, this bullish cross yesterday, that was this low right here, and that's where the short target came from. And we hit it pretty much to the tick. That's how market structure works. Okay. That's why I encourage you, use the Logic 247 alerts to learn how to read a chart, so that you know where to expect potential resistance, so that you know where to expect potential support. In doing so, you reveal the windows of opportunity that exist in between. We're sitting at 57.80 right now. So if price continues down, we got to take out those lows. So 57.90 to 57.80. That would give you a goal for the day. Right there. Nature abhors a vacuum, so do the markets. So the market will be very vested in attempting to fill that area. Will it? Will it not? I don't have crystal balls. But you can see the pullback held, the pullback held, the pullback held. And now here we are. Okay. Now, could you be more aggressive? Sure. Could you attempt to fill that void? And the answer is absolutely. 58.15 down to 58.05. 10 points goal for the day. 10 points goal for the day. Goal. Here's where we opened last night. We're above the PVC. We've got blue and climbing. We get a retracement to the BVC, the pullback held. Just like over here, the pullback held, the pullback held, the pullback held. Once we got above the BVC and ran into this resistance from yesterday, see this high? See this high? Okay, got it? Okay. So back we go from resistance to support, and then support takes us all the way up to the long target, to the tick. That area right there. It's an important price, important area. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So we attempted to get to the weekly zone overhead. We didn't quite get there. we got up to 32.77, so we missed it by 2 points. But that's okay. You had plenty of opportunity to get your goal for the day. Like this candle right here. It opened at, we'll call it 32.58. And it ran up to 32.63. That's $500 per contract traded in that one candle. And you had everything in your favor, okay, of that being the outcome. Now, we've gotten below the VBC on gold. Right here, you see the bullish cross? You see that low? Over and over again and again. Support gives us a bounce, okay, but we're coming back at it a second time. Often on the second or third attempt, we'll break through. So I would, you see the body of this candle right here? Oh, I want to get a little bit lower. Yeah, like that. So we're talking about 32.29 down to 32.25. That's $400 per contract traded right there. Now you could be very aggressive and trade a break of this low at 32.34 and trade it down to this low at 32, we'll call it 33, just to be very conservative. Okay, that's how market structure works. And last but not least, silver. Here's where we opened. Ran right up to the long target. See that? Okay, we bumped our head up against it for a couple times. Remember, these are 30-minute candles. We finally broke through and hit the zone that was published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Resistance sends the market looking for support, which it found at the zone. Support sends us back to resistance at the long target. Okay. And then resistance sends us to support at the short target. Now you only need 2 pennies in silver to get your goal for the day. And to give you an example, this candle here opened at 32.50 and had a low of 32, we'll call it 25 cents. That's $1,250 per contract traded in that one candle. And then the same thing in the reverse direction, where the market found resistance at the zone. And then the same thing, or even more, on that candle where we actually touched the target. It's a $1,200 move, $1,500 move, $1,700 move. Right there. Okay, one last look at the daily chart. We're still above the 62. Okay. High on the day, 52.71 half. Next obstacle, 57.73 and a quarter. So we probably won't see that till maybe Sunday night. Depends on if there's any major geopolitical events that happen over the weekend. All right, Michael should be here. To become a member, go to mytradingiq.com, watch the videos, read up on it, and then when you're ready, send an email to support@cfrn.net. Let us know you want to become a member. We'll send you an email explaining everything it means to become a member and provide you with a link you can click to become a member. First of all, you're going to get 2 hours of live training every trading day in an interactive environment. That's something 9 out of 10 new traders don't have. Probably 9.5. And so they fail. Why? Because they got no one to teach them how to trade. No matter what profession or career you pursue in life, you need somebody to teach you how to do the job, right? So we've plugged that gaping hole by providing 2 hours of live training every trading day, along with private one-on-one mentoring, the strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Future stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. As a passport holder, you get the Logic 247 alerts when they're posted. You get the concierge trade alerts every evening the second they're posted. Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get the weekly trading zones, and once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. You'll also be able to attend the members-only workshop every Thursday night, and you'll get the golden key that opens all the private channels in Telegram. There's actually a weekly workshop channel. Private channel, you'll have access. You could watch hundreds of workshops if you wanted to. You don't need to, but again, it's a great resource to have at your fingertips. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, at one low price. All right, let's see if we can find Michael. All right, I'm going to put you on hold. I'll be right back. He must be having trouble getting logged in. Just sit tight, he'll be here. And as I predicted, here he comes.
Here I am. Here I am. Let me change the name for me.
Changes.
Change. All right, now I'm going to take it over here.
Okay.
Wasn't that Bob Dylan?
Looks good.
All right.
Bob Dylan? No, I don't think so.
So? I don't remember who it was. Maybe somebody will. Anyway, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 2nd day of May, 2025. We are getting dangerously close to Mother's Day. I don't know when that is, but I think it's 2 weeks from today. No, it is 1 week from Sunday. 1 week from Sunday. All right. Big talk with my mom. She got bone marrow results yesterday that she wants to talk about. So, anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Today, as I said, is the 2nd day of May 2025. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right there. There is no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button, and it will bring you to this registration page, which I did get fixed last night. So it's not that page. It's actually going to bring you to this page. There it is. All we ask for in here is your first name, your last name, your email. Down here at the bottom, give us your TradingView login ID. Okay, if you don't have one of those, click on this button. It's going to bring you to this page. Watch this video. Click on this link and get one. Okay. Pretty simple and straightforward stuff. Do all that, and then you'll be able to get your indicators indicating for you on your desktop. Now, we had a slow start to the month of May compared to our great start to the month of April. We're at $3,990 on the month of April, on the first day for the month of April. That was our best day of the year. It was the first day of April, April Fool's Day. Our first day of May, sadly, is not our best day of the year, but not a bad day, not a great day. It's on the lower side of medium, but still is good. We ended up with minus 25 on the NQ, plus 46 on the Russell, plus 71 on gold, and minus 1 on the ES. Took 9 minutes and 6 trades this morning to get to $2,000 per $2,000 total with 10 contracts. All right, which took a total of 29 trades. So this is 2,000 with 10 contracts. This is 802 with 1 contract. So that's actually $8,025 at the end of the day. So we went from 2,000 to 8,000 by the end of the session. There was one point we were up a lot more than that, but I gave it all back. I stopped out. There were quite a few stop outs today, actually. But that's part of trading. Today took 9 minutes and 6 trades to get there. Now, the first trades that we had were big stop outs too. We stopped out on the NQ and we stopped out on the ES. So we had a minus 10 on the ES and a minus 60 on the NQ to overcome. But then right after that, we had a good trade on the gold, a 25 tick trade on the gold, and we had a 75 tick trade on the NQ and a 30 tick trade on the ES. So it came us shooting right back from way negative to way positive. Anyway, this stuff down here is all the same. I did manage to fix this. I don't know why, but these numbers over here, these ones right here, we're not carrying forward right. But I did manage to fix this morning. So on the year now, yeah, on the year now, we're at $120,620. Again, that's with 1 contract over 73 business days, averaging $1,652 per contract per 2-hour business day. The 2420 blueprint stuff is what I had messed up this morning. These dates right here did not carry down correctly. Not these dates, these amounts. All of these amounts were off. Well, the first row was right, but the next 3 underneath it were wrong. Anyway, if you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day and you were to add one contract per month, so far this year, you would have only had to work 9.76 hours and you would have averaged $3,376 per hour. Okay. All right. Now, we only had 29 trades today, and this is not what we want to look at. So let me sign off of this and sign back into CFRN. And we'll go back here and look at what we did this morning. Okay, this is what we want to look at. So we'll start right out with gold. And we will go back to the beginning of the session here. The very beginning of the session. Hang on. Here we go. Now this Shiva, I don't know if you're in here right now, but I wanna just point something out. Shiva's got NinjaTrader and he was trying to trade off of my charts in the room in the morning, and that is a difficult thing to do. And the trades that he showed me on his NinjaTrader chart were, his entries and his exits on the NinjaTrader chart. And this, I'm sorry, this is right here, but I left him a little note in there because the trades were not in the right place. All right, I can see how it would be an issue trying to trade from one, from this chart to that chart and not being able to see the nuances, like down here in the trigger is what generates all the trades, really. The YBR generates direction, the trigger generates the trades. And not having your own trigger on your own chart is going to make it complicated. But anyway, the first trade that I took on gold was right here. We picked up 25 ticks on that very first trade. Now, if that would have been the first trade that I took, that would have been enough to get the goal for the day. But I had already stopped out minus 60 on the NQ and minus 10 on the ES, so it was not enough by itself to get the goal for the day. All right. In here, this was not a valid trade because this did not make it down into the oversold. All right. So that means nothing after that is a valid trade on the downside. And then moving over here, the YBR flipped. So he had done a short right in here where we should have been looking long. Or he had done a long right in here where we should have been looking short because the YBR flipped. So you're going long right here and didn't notice that the YBR flipped. And that, again, if you have your own charts, you would notice that the YBR was going to flip right there ahead of time. Then my next trade was right here. And I picked up another 25 ticks. That got me to 50 on the gold. And then my next trade was here. I picked up 10 more to get me to 60, then 10 more to get me to 75. And then this was another trade that Shiva had taken. This was actually a good trade, but he should have had to stop at break even on that. And he didn't, so he stopped out right here. That was one that I think I ended up missing because it went too far into profit without filling me, and I took the order off and then it snapped right back down. But at that point I was up at 75, and then I did finally stop out. I did finally stop out right here, and that put me down to 60. And then I picked up 10 there to get me to 70, and then I picked up a break even and 1 right there to get me to 71, another break even, and I believe that was all I did. It was. I did not realize that gold had gone down so much during the break. Wow, I made a big move down there. There was a lot of movement on gold during the break. Let's crunch this up and see. Wow, yeah, when the European markets closed, I was saying you're probably going to see a lot of movement when European markets close, and look at all that movement in gold. So that means the indices probably moved up a lot. Let's look at the daily chart really quick. Yeah, they did. Look at that. We're at the high of the day right now on the daily. If we go back here and look at this right here on the daily. I think it was a couple weeks ago I had highlighted this area right here. When it was created, I had highlighted this area, and I was saying if we get back up above the BBC, look for this area to be pretty quick. It ended up taking a little longer. It took like the whole week to get through this area. I thought it was going to go faster than that. But see, we're just about up at the top of it right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if we do get all the way up to the top of it. I'm sure Diane's already gone over this stuff in a bigger picture thing, but I just wanted to show you the stuff that I had been drawing for the last couple of weeks. And I had drawn this in here this morning. We're in the beginning of an inverted head and shoulder pattern. It's looking really bullish. It's in a really bullish pattern. It might not happen for a couple of weeks. You might not get the bullish move for a couple of weeks, maybe a week or two. This period right here, the sideways action is what's going on right now. So it might take a couple of weeks for that to happen, but long term, I would say by the middle of the summer, things should be looking really bullish, I would think. And all you haters out there, I'm just going to come out here and say this. And say this. These are the numbers for now, for today. The numbers of earnings and all that stuff that came out. These numbers are better than the numbers that we've had in a really long time. I mean, they're just scratching the surface right now. But with all the ugliness that's going on out there and the stuff you see in the media, I think if Trump manages to keep working things the way that he's working it, things are going to be much better in there, and you're going to see things just drastically improve. Anyway, that's my take on that. Back here to my recap. Sorry, got a little sidetrack there. On the Russell today, we only had a couple of trades on the Russell. Really, just literally a couple, two. This first one we got 16 ticks, and the second one we got 30 ticks. So we ended up with 46 ticks overall on the Russell. And that was it. You can see everything here on the Russell. As a matter of fact, it only lets me print 35 of these, and it's got all 35 of them in one screenshot. That is unusual. I was thinking this morning about moving the Russell to a smaller time frame because the 19 range isn't giving us that many trades, but it worked out today. And you can see it was a little bit bullish here during the break. From right here to right there was a nice move. Actually doubled the move that it had on the whole day. So that was it for the Russell. Masood, I can send you an email. Okay, let me just copy your email address and I'll send you an email during the break. Okay, if you want to do that. Let me just put this down over here. Got it. I'll send you an email. All right, so on the ES, and I will put in the email everything that you get with it too, okay? On the ES, let's see. We'll scroll all the way back here. Here we are. All right, so we started out on the ES with a break even, and then we had a minus 10, and then we had a plus 30. That got us to 20, and that's where we got the goal for the day. Then we didn't do anything on the ES for a little while. Then here we had another break even. Then we had another break even and we stopped out, put us down to minus 10. Then we had another break even, then we stopped out again, put us down to 0. Then we had another break even, then we stopped out again. Now this one here, I think I made a mistake on. But that put us to minus 10, right? And then we had a break even, and then I got to a plus 8. That put us at minus 1 overall on the ES. So did not have a spectacular day here with the ES today. If you look at it all, from the beginning, I had 1, 2, 3, 4 stop outs out of, so I had 30% of my trades were stop outs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost half of my trades were break evens. And I had just a couple of wins. So it's no wonder I did negative on the NQ today. During the break, I was expecting that during the break we're going to get a big move. The markets were going to loosen up, and they went up, not down. So that's good too. And there we are on the ES. That was it. Now the NQ, let's go back. Well, let me do this right here. On the NQ, let's see. Here's our whole NQ. Now I messed this one up at the beginning. I ended up with a stop out on that. And I don't know how I ended up with a stop out because the entry was here at the bottom of it. And I don't know how I ended up with a stop out, but I did. And I got minus 60 on that one. And then we had the next one right here. I got plus 75. That got us to 15. Then this was an aggressive break even. Then I took this one right here and I stopped out somewhere. That one? That should be, I think that should be a red one. No, maybe that's not the red one, but somewhere in here I stopped out again. And I went from 15 to minus 45. Yeah, I went from plus 15 to minus 45. And then I got a plus 4 somewhere to get me to minus 41. And then I got a plus whatever it was here to get me to a minus 25. And that is where I ended up with the NQ. So the NQ was not really easy to trade today either. I mean, it was tradable, but it wasn't easy to trade. Okay. And well, that's it. That's all I had this morning. So if you have not taken the free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. Just click on that purple button and it will bring you to this registration page right here. Just fill out this page. When you do, you will be sent everything you need to get into the room in the morning and to get your indicators indicating on your desktop. Okay. All right. Let's get in there and trade some more. Now, this daily chart right here, again, we're at a point right now where it might go up a little bit higher by the end of the day. And maybe even into Monday, it might go up a little bit higher. But we should be seeing, I would think, what we're going to see. Let me get rid of this. I would think going forward, we will start to see, come on, man, where is it? Here it is. We will start to see, it's going to be something like this. Sideways action inside this range is what I would expect. Like the next couple, maybe next week or so is what I would think. Let's not extend it right there. Something along that line right there is what I would expect. Sideways action for about that amount of time. So that's going to put us into like the end of June. That's too far. Let's do this. Let's do here a couple of weeks. All right, maybe the end of the month, something like that. And then we should see just that at that point. We'll see. I don't know. There's so many things that could happen to change all that, but here we go back here. Now, let me bring this up. And I guess I already sent him a screenshot of that, so you guys don't need to see my note to Shiva. I lost it anyway. All right. All right, so we're ready to trade again. Now we're below the YBR here, we're below the YBR here, we're above the YBR here, we're above the YBR here. The last pull out of the oversold here ran up and it's come back down. It hasn't gotten into the oversold yet. The last pull out of the oversold here ran up, put in a higher swing, came back down, pulled out, did not put in a higher swing. This is showing weakness. The last pull out of the overbought here, put in a lower swing, showed momentum by not going back into the overbought. And right here showed a little bit deeper pullback. This isn't the greatest spot, but it is a valid trade right here. Trying to see if I can still put that on. It isn't the greatest spot. The entry point should have been on the down close of this bar right here. The reason it's not the greatest spot is because this leg length was so big. A good entry spot would have been up here. A better entry spot would have been up there. Okay, I don't believe it's too late to get into. You can still get into it right now if you wanted to. No, a better entry spot would have been at the top of this bar instead of the bottom of this bar, because that would put your stop up here as opposed to right here. You know, the reason I say that is this. This is the leg length. Now, what I said this morning, so you guys understand, when you're drawing a leg length, right? Everybody wonders where to start and where to end it. You can use the trigger to help you with that. It's from here to here, all right? From here to here. So the top of it starts here where it comes out of the overbought. And this part over here where it goes back into the overbought, doesn't matter. It's the low that happened right before it went into the overbought. That's how you draw the leg length. It's the low that happened right before it went into the overbought. Okay, so now this pullback that you just had right here, this is a good spot to enter this, right in here. This is what I was saying. This is a better spot to enter than down here. All right, you see why? Just curious why this would be a better spot. This is the midpoint of this leg length. That's why right here would be a better spot to enter. If you entered down here, on the down close of that bar, if you entered down here, that would have just stopped you out to the tick right there. Does that make sense? That's why I was saying this right here is the better spot to enter. You know, if you got in a little bit on a pullback right here, you might have stayed in it. It might have not stopped you out, but it's 10 ticks. So it's 2.5 points from the entry of this bar right here, 2.5 points. That would be 10.5, 10.50, and it went up to 10.75. You see what I mean? Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? All right. So, as I said, if you would have gotten in on a pullback right here, you'd be in this trade making money right now. All right. I didn't get filled. Next, you have a similar thing that just happened here. Now, this little tiny pullback right here was coming after it showed some momentum here. Let me show you that. Okay. When the NQ started running down here and it pulled back a little bit, but didn't make it up into the overbought, that was showing that it had momentum on the downside. All right. So remember how to grab your leg length, right? From here to here, the low is going to be right before that that move up that got into the overbought. So from here to here, all right, but it's the low right before that. So what you would have been doing is this right here is what your leg length would have been. And when I said just a second ago, the NQ is doing the same thing, it was doing the same thing. The better entry point, you know, you could have entered on the down close right here when it closed down right here. You could have entered on that. It would have worked out, but that's not a great looking trade because you're going right into the swing low where it's usually going to find some support. So I would have waited for a pullback on that, and I would have missed out on the trade completely if I waited for the pullback. But it would have been a better trade entry right up here than right down here. Okay. And so now you see it's doing it again. It's gone all the way into the oversold, come all the way back up into the overbought. It's gone to the oversold. So now when it gets into the overbought, if it goes all the way up into the overbought now, be using this for your leg length, which really isn't much of a leg length. So that makes this an opportunity to be aggressive. Okay, does that make sense? You can see ahead of time that you're going to be in chop. If it does that, if it does do that, you can see ahead of time that you're going to be in chop because you have like a 2-bar leg length right here. And it's going to be a 2-bar leg length going back up. So it gives you a chance to be aggressive. It's not working out that way. So I wouldn't do it right now. But you know, the way that that's coming together, it's not really going to be anything that you want to trade. You'd want to see a deeper pullback on that at this point. I don't think you're going to get it. Over here, this just showed weakness right here by not making it up into the overbought, by not making it up into a new swing high. Okay. Now, that's weakness on this level. If you bring it to a larger time frame, you know, it'd be going there down to about right here. So if we do that, let's do that. We're on 20, we'll go to a 47, we'll just double it. Okay.
For those who still trade crude, you should expect lower prices based on a Senate bill that just passed by a vote of 88-2.
88-2 in the Senate.
Yeah, and
no
the
doubt.
only ones that voted no were Senators Ed Markey and, of course, Bernie Sanders. It's the nuclear package, combined with another bill that reauthorized the U.S. Fire Administration and grant programs for firefighters. This combined package will go to the president's desk for his signature. So we're going to start building nuclear plants.
Sweet.
Finally.
Yeah, and Elon Musk said if we had.
You should see. If you didn't see the interview last night, Jesse Waters interviewed Elon and the whole Doge team, and he did like parts 1, 2, and 3 last night, and I think on Monday night he's gonna show parts for whatever's left of it.
Wow.
But it's really interesting to hear these guys, and they're not all a bunch of pimply-faced teenagers. Many of them are in their mid-20s, 30s, even 40s. I think the youngest guy there was 22,
Mm-hmm.
and he had one of the best answers. So,
Well, these guys are not—they're not there because they're dumb. They're going to be the cream of the crop.
now for those of you with long-term vision, eventually something's going to happen to cause crude to go back up, because companies like Exxon and all the other big drillers out there, crude producers, they need crude to be over $70 a barrel in order to be profitable. So, something's going to happen, because Exxon didn't get that big by being wrong, or all the
Right.
others.
Correct. I mean, they can get in on, they can just get in on the whole nuclear stuff too.
Something long
Or-
term, I don't do options, but some kind of long term out of the money
Yeah,
option.
leaps.
Yeah,
Do leaps.
that kind of
That's
stuff.
what you can do. Yeah, well, Elon was saying if you had like 150 square mile area in the United States, and there are areas like that are barren, and you set up solar panels
We have tons
for
of
that
them here
much.
in Arizona. I mean,
Yeah, but 150 square miles, that's like, that's,
we got it.
oh, I know it's definitely there. There's huge swaths of land like that. He was saying that would be enough to generate enough power for the United States. Be
Really?
energy independent. Yeah, that's what he was saying. You'd be energy independent based on that alone. Nobody's going to
But
do
we
it.
need
but
those
you
solar panels manufactured here in the U.S.
Yeah, manufactured in the U.S., maintained in the U.S. Yeah, but that's what I had seen him say that before. So here's crude oil right here at 58.13 a barrel right now, and this is on the daily chart. So it had a big move down right here. So let's look at it on the daily chart and see what it looks like it's doing now. This was last year. Is that right? No, that's 2020. Right, that's when Trump was president. Actually, when Biden had just taken over.
Actually, at one point it was like zero. They were like paying you to
Yeah.
take a barrel.
Yeah, they're paying you to get those barrels off their hands. 1063 here in April of 2020, and then by 2022 it run all the way up to 128. Now it's back down. I mean, this is 58 is reasonable, and I would say that it's probably going to go down much further as all the new energy things come to fruition. But like Wayne said, I mean, they're not in business because they're dumb. Even the Saudis they're doing other forms of energy. They know that the oil eventually is going to run out over there, and so they're investing in other forms of energy as well. So
We got more crude than the rest of them put together.
I know, and it's just
First,
crazy.
we had to fill up the strategic reserve that our previous administration emptied.
Yeah, drained.
Michael
At
R.,
the
you're
end of
right,
this
150
term,
square
to try to get
miles
prices down.
is a big. Michael R. typed in 150 square miles is a big target.
It is a very
You are
big
correct.
target.
Yeah. So
It is.
you would have to. I don't know how.
It would have to
There's
be
really no way
protected.
to protect that because, well, yeah, you just surround it with those. What do you call them? The missiles that take out anything
Patriots.
incoming. Iron Dome. There you go.
Patriot.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Michael.
but I have an Iron Dome, but the Patriot missiles is the ones that take out anything that's incoming. But the Iron Dome that Israel has is basically a similar thing.
Yep, that's what we would use.
Well, I mean, it's only 150 square miles. You could do
I mean, there has
100
to
of
be
them.
150 square miles out there that's owned by the government. You wouldn't
Easy.
even have to
Easy.
encroach on any private property owners. I mean, if
Not at all.
you drive from Phoenix to Las Vegas Once you get out
Yeah.
of the greater Phoenix area, it's like you're on the moon.
Well, if you drive from Las Vegas to anywhere, really, it's it's not from anywhere to Las Vegas. From Las Vegas to anywhere, Las Vegas is like in the middle of the desert. And I guess you're talking from desert to desert, really. From Phoenix to Las Vegas is desert to desert, right?
It's all desert. Once
Yeah.
once you get up above Wickenburg, heading north to Vegas, it's all desert as far as the eye can see.
hmm And out in the
Not a place you want to
the
break down.
Midwest, Kansas and Nebraska and all that, it's all the same thing. Gold's got a long here, guys. I just took the long on gold and I'm going to lock in. That's just 4 ticks right there. But there we go. And I can lock in 10. All right, and that's 10 ticks. I'm sorry I didn't take many trades today. It's been kind of slow for me too. Well, I've been kind of slow. It was a long day yesterday, a lot of driving. 7, 8 hours on the road. All right. So,
Setting up.
yep, it's right here. It's at a good spot right here. That was the one you could have been aggressive on and taken the short at the open of the bar. You could still take the short because it hasn't gone into profit enough to bump the stop. But if you look at it, what Dwayne's referring to, I believe, is this right here. It's coming right up to the midpoint right there. Okay, so if it comes out of the overbought right now, that'd be a great spot for a trade. Or the aggressive trade, if you wanted to. You could just short it right here without waiting for it to come out of the overbought. That's a thought. Here. I'll just do that. Here it is. And that has to go 4 ticks into profit because it's a 7 range. And what it should do, at a minimum, it should get down to here. Even if it's going to change directions, it should get down to here to 675. Okay, even if it's going to change directions. Now, there's the 4 ticks in profit, so we're going to bump that to break even.
Masood, if you sent an email 2 weeks ago, I have no idea how we missed it.
I sent stuff. I sent stuff then too.
He just typed in.
Yeah.
He wanted to know how to become a passport holder, and I said, send us an email, and we'll send you the
Yeah,
instructions.
I've sent it several times. I'll send it again. I'll just forward the ones that I sent before.
Okay.
I don't know that our stuff is going into any folder that you can read soon. Okay, so we just took 6 ticks profit on that one right there, on the ES trade, because I was aggressive. I took it at the open instead of waiting for it to give us a down close. Yeah, I just actually copied your email address down again so I could send it to you again. Okay, and I will go and check it just to make sure.
Yeah, check right now, Masood, because you should have it. He just sent it, and emails
Well,
pretty quick.
no, I didn't send it right now. I didn't send it yet. I was going to check it right now to see when I last sent it. Here, paste. Yeah, okay. I see you were sent stuff April 19th, April 14th, April 7th, April 6th. That's where you were sent stuff. And so I'll send you another one. I see what you're asking for is a little bit different than what you asked for. So I'll send you a different one, okay? I will send you another one when I'm done. Well, here I'll send you the one that you need right now. I think I have the. Nope, I don't actually have it open. I will open up the thing that I need to send you. Well, it's time for me to wrap it up anyway, so I'll send it to you in just a minute, okay? So I took a profitable trade here, and I took a profitable trade on the gold in this session, and we talked a little bit about important stuff. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingIQ.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that, and it's going to bring you to the registration page. Fill it out. Okay. Now, Masood, I will send you the link that you need to get to the passport. Okay. It's an upgrade for you. That's what you need. So I'll send you that link. Okay. And I will send you all that stuff I have. I just sent it out to somebody else just a few minutes ago. So I'll send it to you too in just a minute, okay? I got it. All right. So everybody, today was the first day of May. It was a slow start to May. We're up 802.50 per contract. All right. We ended last month. It was our best month of the year. Last month, actually our best month ever, $35,530 with one contract last month. Averaged $1,870 a day. Last month was our best month ever. We're starting off a little slow right now. That's okay. In last month, we had our best day ever to $4,177 with one contract. So there's a lot of stuff to try to match this month.
This month's got 31 days.
It does. And last month we had 21 business days, I think. I think I only worked 19 of them though, right?
Something like that.
19 of them. Yeah, I worked 19 of them. And there was some stuff that happened last month. I had funeral and stuff like that I had to go to. Okay. That is it. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park in the suit. I'm going to send that to you right now. Okay. Dwayne, I can almost see your charts.
Recap of the morning
There it is.
session.
Today it took, hang on, I gotta go find it. Today it took 9 minutes and 6 trades to get to $2,000 with 10 contracts on.
Good job.
Thank you.
This is the daily chart of the S&P. Right there is that 62% reverse fib we were talking about earlier. If we close above that, guys, then our next major obstacle is right here at this high, 57.73. And then again, right here. So, if the institutional traders if they have the conviction behind what they've done today, today's low is 56.01. Actually, we opened, what did we open at? We opened at 56.08 and a half. Come on. We're up, good Lord. We're up 110 points on the session from the high to the low. Maybe it'll work better that way. The low. Come on. Oh well. There we go. Low 56.01. High 57.21. That's 120 points from the low of the day to the high of the day. That's pretty bullish. All right, we've covered everything else. I've explained to you how to become a member. So we're going to wrap it up with our good word for today. Actually, this is part 2 of yesterday. Don't break, bounce back. Proverbs 24:16. For a righteous person falls 7 times and rises again. Here are 2 more keys to bouncing back. Number 1, instead of complaining about what you can't change, change what you can. When you can't change your situation, you can change your attitude towards it. Well, how do you do that? By reprogramming your mind with God's Word. The Bible says in 1 John 5:4, for whoever has been born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Who is the one who overcomes the world but the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God? And number 2, instead of grumbling about your pain, discovered her calling as a motivational speaker and created the True Vision Institute, teaching kids to tap into their inner resources. Finding purpose in your pain isn't a new idea. Survivors of life-threatening illnesses, natural disasters, the Holocaust, and parents of chronically ill children continually demonstrate how overcomers find the proverbial silver lining by reinventing themselves. Meeting challenges help you develop a can-do attitude that says, been there, done that, and I will survive. Basketball star Michael Jordan said, I've missed over 9,000 shots in my career, lost over 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Arguably the greatest basketball player to ever live. His high school coach told him he'd never make it. So the bottom line is, what he did, what others have done, you can do too. Don't break, bounce back. That's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.